Oh, shoot. Well, that's fine. Oh no, mic down, mic down. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, Day 292 of 365 with David McDonald to go. Man, we're about to turn that corner. 8 days, and we only have 65 days left. Excuse me. Jeesh. All right, so let's get into our meditation routine. I will see you guys on the other side. All right, my friends, welcome back. Al, good morning. Lessons, man. I appreciate that. You saying that gives me strength. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. It's funny how we all kind of just help each other out, you know? All right, so we just finished our meditation routine, and now we're going to get into our reading routine. I will see you all on the other side. Oh, today's garbage day. It's Wednesday. Forgot about that. All right, my friends, welcome back. So we just finished our reading routine, and now we're getting into our journaling routine. So in our journaling routine, I usually like to write about what I'm most grateful for. And in the morning, that is waking up and being in godly mental, physical, and spiritual health. Among other things, I like to write about my goals. I like to put manifestations, things that I assume to be true, um, things that may have happened, things that may not have happened, and I write those things down. So journaling is an awesome way to just keep track of everything that's going on in your head, uh, and for that matter, get everything out of your head and down on paper, which creates a lot of clarity and identification with what's bothering you, what's not bothering you, what you're happy, what you're grateful about, etc. So it's a really good way just to clear some space so you can have more genius thoughts and more genius experiences um, come to fruition. So with that being said, I will see you all on the other side here shortly. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Good morning, Mama. How's it going? Happy 4th of July. I love you too. Good morning, Miss Miner. Okay, so before we jump off, 2 life points here that I came across, or I came to yesterday. One was I went out with the fam yesterday, and we watched the fireworks. And me and my brother and my fiance, we were walking around, and we went to go get some drinks, some beverages, and just kind of like explore a little bit around where we were at. And sorry, I washed my hands with like this soap that's like has like soothing scent in it or something. And I keep rubbing my face. My face is like, stop touching me. So I'm like freaking, my allergies are like freaking out right now. But nonetheless, so we walked around, and my nephew, I didn't know at the time, he wanted a water. He wanted something to drink. We get back, he turns around, he looks at all of us, and he looks at his dad, and he's like, hey man, what's up? I wanted a drink. And I didn't know that, so I was like, oh, okay, no big deal. Let's go get one. So we go get one, and my brother starts laughing. He's like, oh, my bad. We just got caught up in like some rants people we knew, and it just turned into kind of a big affair, and it was great. So me and my nephew, we went to go get some water, and I'm looking down. There's people everywhere. I'm looking. It's nighttime thing here. So I'm looking down, and I was like, okay, well, let me give him some money so he can pay. So I hand him a 20, and then I hand him a $5 bill. And I said, okay, put this in your pocket, and then keep the 20, use the 20 to buy, whatever it is that you want at the stand. And so he puts the $20 bill right here in his neck, like this. All right, and I'm watching, and I'm like, that's exactly what happened. And I'm watching him like try to maneuver and put this $5 bill in his pocket, right? And while he's holding this $20 bill, so then he's trying to like open, hold this $20 bill in his neck, and then I look down at him again, and he's like looking around. And he's like looking around, and I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, I lost a $20 bill. I was like, what? I just gave it to you, man. Kind of thing. I was like, I just gave it to you. How did you lose it? And then he was like, well, because, I was putting the money in my pocket, and I don't know. I must have dropped it. And I'm like, okay. But what came up for me was, I wasn't upset or anything like that, but what came up for me was something that I read in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich book. And in that book, he says to handle life with care, like trying to stop and smell the roses type of thing. And my garbage still isn't out. But he says, stop and smell the roses, right? Pretty much kind of thing. And so what I read in that book, it reminded me of that very moment. So I kneeled down, I got to my nephew's eye level, and I looked at him, and I was like, all right, this is what, good morning, brother. Wagwan. So I got down to his eye level, and I was like, okay, look. I was like, next time, if somebody gives you multiple things to do at once, right? Like for example, like I just did, I gave you a $5 bill, I gave you a $20 bill, right? He said, right. I said, what were you gonna do with the $5 bill? He said, well, you said I could have the $5 bill. I said, okay, great. And then I said, what were you gonna do with the $20 bill? I was gonna use the $20 bill to pay for my drink. Said, okay, great, got it. So next time, what you want to do is you want to take the money that you're gonna used to spend, put that in your one pocket, right? Secure it, make sure it's there. and then take the other dollar bill or whatever the money is or whatever it is, and you put it in your other pocket. You make sure that's secure. Then you turn around, you pull the money out, and you pay the person at the register when you figure out what it is that you want. That way, you're not trying to scramble, you're not trying to do all this stuff. Because what I was immediately reminded of, me David McDonald, through reflection and through exercises and reading, right, is what I try to do is I try to take my lunchbox, my satchel, my my coffee, my smoothie, and my work bag all at once to the car at the same time. And I mean, and I could do it, right? But it's just, I mean, you're trying to fumble all this stuff when it's like, no, just make 2 trips from top of the stairs down to the car and back, and just handle it with care. And so we got back to the group, and he was like, he told our sister, and he's like, oh, I lost $20. And they're like, what? Like, how? And I just started laughing. But I was like, well, what did you learn? And then he was like, well, I learned, that if somebody gives you a bunch of money, you should secure it. You should secure it. Make sure it's in, your pocket. Make sure it's put away, so you're not doing too much. And I think that's great. So that was life lesson number 1. It was impactful for me because I was able to respond to him with care and teach him how to handle things with care through my own experiences and my own thing that I've come to say, okay, well, I need to handle things with care and don't try to do everything at one time, right? One thing at a time, slowly work your way through things. So that's great. And the second universal, I think, universal understanding that came to yesterday was, oh, check this out. Okay. So, how they say, who you hang out with, you got to be careful because who you hang out with can, significantly influence, decisions that you make. So one philosophy that I carry both in my business and in life is you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take in life, okay? So for you not to take a shot at something or you not to try to or to attempt something in life, you miss the opportunity to succeed at it if you don't even give it a try. So I'm planning for a big event, right? And I was trying to figure out an event space. And I talked to this person over here about it, talked to that person over there about it, and they were like, oh no, that might be too expensive. That might be too expensive. That might be too expensive. What do you mean that might be too expensive? And so they said that, and for a second it had me twisted. I was just like, hold on, wait, what? No, what do you mean? God provides. I'm reading it. I just read a story about Joseph in the book. He escaped. He left his hometown, and he was in a city where there was a king, and the king's wife came to him and said, "Hey, I want." Joseph was an attractive man, so the Bible says, right? And the king's wife wanted to sleep with him, and Joseph said, "No, I'm not going to do that because my master, has given me everything I could ever want, and he's only kept you off limits, which is totally fine with me." And so she continued to come on to him. She continued to come on to him. She continued to come on to him, right? And then one day when nobody was in the house, she walks up to Joseph and she says, "Hey, come lie with me, right? Come lay with me." And Joseph says, "No." And he runs out of the house. And while he's running out, she has her hands on his cloak, and his cloak gets left behind. So then this woman, she fabricates a story, and she says, hey, she calls all the men back into the house, and she tells all the men, she says, hey, Joseph, this Hebrew, he just slept with me. When I raised my voice, he ran out of the house. And so pretty much Joseph was, shamed. He was thrown in jail. When the master came home, he said, how could you do this? I gave you everything, and you're going to sit here and try to sleep with my wife, right? Super wild. What do you mean too expensive? Right? What do you mean too expensive? So Joseph gets thrown into jail. Then Joseph meets these two guys who get thrown into jail: a cupbearer and a baker of the Pharaoh. So they all meet, and they have these dreams that they're not able to interpret. The Pharaoh and the cupbearer of the Pharaoh. Excuse me, the baker and the cupbearer of the Pharaoh. Right? And so Joseph has a gift given to him by God. God is walking with Joseph, and Joseph interprets the dream. He says, "Hey, the cupbearer, in 3 days," he said, "what your dream means is in 3 days, the Pharaoh will raise your head," which in other words means he will call you back into his kingdom and allow you to resume your position. To the baker, you're going to get hung, right? And so times comes to pass, and the baker is hung, and the cupbearer is in a situation where he gets called back into his position by the Pharaoh. And then the only thing Joseph asks both of those guys if he interpreted their dream incorrectly or correctly, and if they lived, right? He just said, "Hey, just ask the Pharaoh to come and pretty much pardon me, because I was lied on. This lady, fabricated a story toward me, and I would never disrespect anybody that way," right? So then what happened was, once the baker and the cupbearer, the baker's dead now. The cupbearer got his position back, and what ended up happening was he forgot about Joseph in prison. And then one day later in the future, right? So imagine if you're Joseph and you're sitting in this jail cell. You were just accused of doing something that you internally were like, "No, why would I ever do this?" You were accused of it. You're now locked up. And the two guys that you helped out while you were in jail left you stranded. Do you give up faith? Do you keep faith? And do you allow for the opportunity to present itself, or you allow the universe and God to bless you with the opportunity to get out in some other way or another, right? So obviously Joseph kept faith. So even though he probably came to the assumption that they may have forgotten about him, which they probably did, which actually they did. So the Pharaoh has this dream, and guess what? Nobody can interpret the dream. First off, point of clarification. You're living in this life, we're in this life, and we limit ourselves to our thoughts. So again, the universal space is an infinite space. So for us to say that will never happen is blasphemy. It is completely outrageous. That will never happen, because we cannot even fathom the amount of opportunities. Again, and I've said this before in the beginning of our journey in other books, we cannot even fathom the amount of possibility that exists. We cannot fathom the amount of things that can happen to us in an instant. We can't even come to a comprehensive understanding of what that looks like on a grand scale. Now, hear me out. In this book, right, Joseph, he gets forgotten about. And then who would have thought that the Pharaoh himself would have had a dream that nobody could interpret? And guess what happened? They had to go back to Joseph. Now imagine if he was, "Oh, woe is me. I'm in this jail. I'm innocent. I helped these guys out. They didn't return the favor." And because guess what? When the Pharaoh had that dream, he told the cupbearer, who was very close, right? Obviously within arm's length of him, nobody can interpret this dream. He said, "Oh, Pharaoh, I forgot to tell you. While we were locked up in jail, there was a guy who was a Hebrew, and he interpreted our dreams for us. And everything that he said is what is today." He was like, "Okay." So now in the book, he's going to go back to Joseph. And I know there's a lot of parts about that story, because the last 2 days we've been working like early in the morning, so I haven't had time to really talk about it. So we might, I'll try to squeeze it in here probably tomorrow. The story before that one, all what's transpired these last couple of days in the book. But the universal principle that I learned or what I gathered reading that story is we must always remain faithful. We must always remain faithful to knowing that all will always be okay, that we will never fail, and that we are always protected. And I say that because going back to the original story, if I had listened to the people who said, that's too expensive, then I would allow their reality to hold me down to a place of, I'll allow their reality to hold me down to a place of eliminating all the unlimited possibilities. Because guess what? Now something just happened this last week, a realization within me, a blessing that I downloaded, right? That's allowing me to look at this situation or look at this event space and say, oh, that's nothing. That's cake. We got that in the bag. Done. And I would not have been there had I allowed myself to think, oh no, that's too expensive. And so when you create opportunity, and even when you're not really sure how things are going to kind of work out, but you move into that direction with faith and knowing and a knowingness that everything will always work out to one degree or capacity to then another. You open the space for the blessing to come for you or to come to you. And that's the most important thing I think about this life. And so, Joseph kept the space open in the book. I kept the space open in real life, or in these hours, in this time, in these past times. And so the blessing was able to arrive because I kept my space open. And that's really, really important. And that's with everything and anything that we do. Just a good universal and life principle, I feel, to take with us, throughout our journey, and just know, okay, be careful who you consult with, because everybody has your best interest in mind. Absolutely. And that's what makes for good family and good friends. However, you have to always meet people where they are. And so when you meet people where they are, you can see their perspective. However, if you're a dreamer and you're somebody who believes in the infinite space of the universe, and you believe in this infinite power of God, then you have to take what you're hearing as one angle or one perspective, and obviously show some appreciation for it, because it's a different angle or perspective. Because in that instance, it was a mirror to say, well, hold on, you're thinking about this the wrong way, David. You shouldn't be looking at it this way, because that is not the reality that you're living. The reality that you're living is whatever you say it is. So I had to check myself. Thank you. I acknowledge what you're saying. And then I had to redirect the course with my mind and with my energy and with my spirit. And when I did that, boom, I got a different reality. And then boom, opportunity came. And then boom, now I'm in the execution phase of that opportunity. Once I finish the execution phase, I'm perfect. I'm in a place of balance. And so we only do this once, this life. We only do this life once in this physical body, that you see, that I see. And so the most important thing to remember is dream bigger, dream bigger, dream bigger, because we can dream as big as we want, and we can achieve as big as we want. And there's nothing that can stop us, period. So with that being said, I hope you guys take that on today, because I'm going to take it today. It was wonderful realizations. It's just kind of cool to unpack, ideas and concepts and things as I come to them. And so hopefully that resonates with somebody out there. But with that being said, everybody who jumped on the messenger board, Secrets of a Millionaire. Oh, that might be a good book. That sounds nice. Wayne Gretzky. Morning, Liz. How's it going? Of course. And then, so I will see you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 a.m. Thank you for everybody who jumped on the messenger board. I appreciate the constant love and support. For everybody who's watching at home, thank you so much. I appreciate the love and support. Good morning, Mr. Hopkins. I see you out there. I know you're out there killing it, man. Keep crushing it. And I will see you guys all tomorrow at 5 a.m. Love you guys dearly, and Thanks for watching.